Hey, what is going on, you guys? My name is SpideyDeku64, and welcome back to yet another Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series video. And we are here once again, people, for the third straight year in a row. I am going to be discussing here today to all of you guys about my 10 favorite Star Wars Black Series figures of the 2025 year. And so, don't want to really ramble on way too much here. So, with all that really kind of being said to my mind, let's just go ahead and let's get into the list. So, let us begin the list here, starting with the number one figure on the spot. By the way, these are not really ranked. I'm just having this as the starting point. And this is the Star Wars Black Series Savage Opress. And boy, I gotta say that he came out super duper cool right here, man. I gotta really honestly say that out of really all of the figures that they've taken from the animation side of Star Wars, this one of course coming from the Clone Wars series, I gotta really honestly say this really does feel like they took, a figure, or they took a character from the animation and really incorporated it into action figure form. I gotta say, I honestly really love the way that this figure came out. The shoulder pads look really cool and really big. Of course, obviously, it comes with that dual-bladed lightsaber. It comes with the spear. This is specifically based off of his look from I think this is his look from seasons 3 and 4, because, of course, obviously, he got his arm chopped off by Obi-Wan, I think, in season 5, so this one has a bit of a specific look to Savage Opress, but still, though, a really awesome figure right here, and a really great figure to start off the list. Coming up to the number 2 spot on the list here, we have Sebulba. And what really else can I kind of say about this figure? I mean, it's really it's a weird figure. That I will tell you for sure. But the reason as to why I love it so much is just, this is just something that we don't get in the Black Series line. We don't get too many of these weird, strange-looking alien sculpts. I mean, literally, it's a Star Wars alien that crawls on all of its 4 legs. Like, that's really the thing about it. And it has, like, some kind of weird, like, horse kind of face or something like that. I don't know. This just is an amazing-looking figure. And this again, I really wish the Black Series line, we get more weird alien characters like this. I'm not talking about, like, of course, obviously we have, your humanoid looking aliens that have a weird head and all that good stuff. And I'm certainly not talking about any fucking gophers or anything like that. No, I'm talking about figures like Sebulba. We need more figures like him. So that is why Sebulba is on the number 2 spot on the list. Coming to the number 3 spot on the list here, we have the Commando Droid. And this one right here is, of course, obviously it's a character that a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. Hell, I know people that have been wanting this one for a while, and I think Hasbro, they really delivered with this one. Now, out of all the droid figures, especially, the ones, or I guess the Clanker figures that we have in the Black Series line, this isn't my favorite per se, but I do think, though, that this is a very solid figure. Now, unfortunately, though, my enjoyment of this figure is a little bit low, because my figure, at least on the left knee, for some reason, on the left knee on my figure, it can't bend at all, which kind of sort of sours a little bit of the taste in my mouth, and it's certainly not a figure that I'll, like, really kind of have in crazy posers or anything like that. If you honestly ask me, my favorite Star Wars battle droid is the B2 battle droid. That's my absolute favorite Black Series figure. I think one of my favorite Black Series figures that they ever made. But overall, still a really good figure, though, and certainly one of my favorites of the year, and he is number 3 on the list. Coming up to the number 4 spot on the list, we have Phase 1 Rex. Now, this right here it might be a bit of a controversial kind of take here maybe, but this figure, of course, obviously, it's basically a standard reissue, or not a reissue, a repaint of a already existing sculpt. But I've said this before about my favorite figures. This is, again, personally, it's just because, in my opinion, it doesn't matter whether or not it's a repaint or whether or not it's a retool. If a figure is, really good and solid, I think it's a really good figure. And this is an example of that. I've always been wanting to update my Captain Rex for a long time. And this is honestly just such a solid figure. I really love how this figure looks. I love the helmet that they gave this guy. I really do love the pauldron they gave on him, the comma piece, the skirt piece. I'm really glad it's plastic and not cloth. And overall, just a really solid figure here. For Captain Rex & Co. So, yeah, and spoiler alert here, this won't be the first clone trooper that's going to be on the list here, so just a little bit of a fair bit of a warning that I will say for sure. Coming up to the number 5 figure on the list here, we're just midway right here. We have the Imperial Praetorian Guard, and this is a really sweet looking figure right here. Now, this one right here is a little bit of an interesting one, as this one has a lot of new parts, but it also has some old parts here and there. I think that the legs are reused from the first, not Imperial, but the First Order Praetorian Guard. But personally, honestly speaking, I kind of really sort of don't care that it is. Honestly, just speaking to this is only one of the few Mandalorian Season 3 figures that I picked up here, and I gotta say that Hasbro really knocked it out of the park with this one. I really loved how this one came out, and all that good stuff. The sculpt work, the articulation, overall is really solid for the most part. And of course, it obviously does come with, of course, 2 different weapons and all that good stuff, which really gets you to army build this one. So I haven't really gotten a second figure of this one, but however, though, I still think, though, that it's a very solid figure. So, yeah, so the Praetorian Guard is the number 5 figure on the list here. Coming up to the number 6 figure on the list, and I did say it before, there are going to be some repaints or reissues here. Not really, mostly repaints here, but here we have Lieutenant Gale right here. And this one right here, this particular clone trooper, honestly has to be probably one of the best clone troopers that Hasbro has put out in quite a little bit of some time now. The biggest thing for me here that really does honestly kind of get me really excited to see how Hasbro are going to tackle the other clone troopers is that helmet. The helmet for the Phase 2 clone troopers have never looked right. I've kind of sort of have accepted that, okay, this is just how they look. I don't know. There's really not much that we can really do with it and all that good stuff. But man, Hasbro went out ahead here and they showed that, yeah, they can do a good Phase 2 helmet. It's just that now they decide to do it. So, I don't know. But overall, though, really awesome looking figure here. And that's why Gale is the number 6 figure on the list. Okay, y'all, trust me. This is going to be the last repaint of the list. But coming up to the number 7 spot here on the list, we have the Sand Trooper. The reason as to really why I have the Sand Trooper on here is really mostly because of really the paint work. Now, mostly with the Stormtroopers, they're just mostly are just white. Like, it's just literally a guy in white, shiny plastic about to get blasted by rebel scum and all that good stuff and made like fucking idiots on a Disney Plus cartoon series. But point of the matter is, though, is that I really love the wash and the paint work that they gave to the Sand Trooper right here. Really love it a lot. Also, a new backpack and a new blaster also at the same time as well with this guy. Honestly, it's just a pretty cool release. Not much really else to say about this one, but that's the number 7 figure on the list here. Coming up to the number 8 figure on the list right here, we have the Stranger or Chimere or whatever the hell you want to call him. Yes, I never would have thought that a figure from The Acolyte, a show that I'm going to be real here with you, I did not like this series. I'm glad it's not getting a second fucking season on Disney Plus or anything like that, but I gotta say, though, that Chimere the Stranger was probably one of the best aspects of this show. And obviously, people wanted the Black Series figure of this guy for such a good amount of time now, up to this point. And I can understand as to why. He's just a cool looking figure, or really a cool looking just a cool looking character just in general. Now, what makes this figure really also cool here is that unlike with a lot of Black Series figures, you unfortunately don't get a lot of options with the figures on how you want them displayed. The thing about this one that really is cool for me is the interchangeable head, which he comes with, of course, obviously his gimp mask or whatever the hell you want to call it. And then he comes with just the normal Stranger head sculpt that's based off of the actor and all that good stuff. But I just really, honestly, just really love this one just because of the options that it gives you with this figure. And then also, if you don't want him with that cloth or that plastic robe piece in front of him, you could just honestly remove it and just have him in his kind of robe look right here with those biceps shown and all that good stuff. Also, if you want him without his little Shoto lightsaber and you just want him with his longer just lightsaber hilt, you honestly have that. You got a lot of options with this figure, which is just something we don't typically get with a lot of Black Series figures. And just really a good overall figure from Hasbro, overall just in general. So that's why Khymra the Stranger is the number 8 figure here on the list. And, well, okay, let's just go ahead and get into it. Number 9 and 10 on the list, I have to put together. We have right here Revenge of the Sith, Anakin, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. What else really can I say about these two other than Hasbro? People, out of all people's wish list of figures for Hasbro to make or for Hasbro to go back and to redo Anakin and Obi-Wan based off of their looks from Revenge of the Sith, from what arguably a lot of people have said, and I don't agree with this statement, from the last quote-unquote good Star Wars movie, even though I think that statement is pretty ridiculous in my personal opinion. I think, though, that, I've wanted a new version of Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan and Anakin, because the older versions of these figures are dated as hell. They are so dated, and these two figures just came out so damn well. And what's kind of funny here is that they kind of match the original figures, they do match the original figures a little bit in terms of kind of the way that they're done, especially in some of the paint work and all that good stuff. But obviously, of course, the figures have just such a better look, have a better likeness to Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. The articulation is just far in a ways just so much better than on the previous versions. And overall, they're just good figures just in general. And I really honestly think that these are figures that people are going to be having on their shelf as their main display. The one thing, though, I have to bitch about this figure, or I have to really complain about, is unfortunately these figures are severely missing out on the accessories that were presented in the San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack. I think they really are missing those accessories, the extra interchangeable hands and the head sculpts. I think they're just massively missing it. And I think that other than that, hey, look, I'm glad to just have the two figures by themselves. I really wish they would have came with more accessories, man. I really wish they could have. Not even with, lightsaber effects, man. I don't get Hasbro. Or I really don't get Lucasfilm and their whole rule about not them having limbs in their packaging. I don't know. Freaking Marvel Legends has interchangeable hands, and Disney doesn't have an issue with them. So, I don't know. It's just kind of stupid. But overall, though, really solid looking figures right here, and certainly the best of the year. It only took us about 10 years to get new versions of these characters, so worth the wait, I guess. Sure, I guess. And there you go, guys. That was my 10 favorite figures of the year right there. Overall, I gotta say, this year, 2025, or last year, 2025 was last year. 2025 was honestly, you know what, a pretty gosh darn good year for Star Wars. And I got to really honestly say that I really have enjoyed a lot of these figures that, Hasbro presented to us. Definitely for sure, Anakin and Obi-Wan was probably the shining moment of the year for me. Just getting those two characters was just so great. And then just getting a lot of other characters like Savage Opress or just those unique characters too, I think was just also really good at the same time as well. So with there being my favorite figures, I also have my least favorite. And of course, obviously, based off of the image you're seeing right here, yeah, come around next time where we're going to be discussing about my least favorite figures of the year. And I'll talk more a little bit about my kind of status as a Black Series collector. So I hope all of you will enjoy that. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope all of you had a great Christmas and a great New Year. And with that being said, I will see all of you in the next video.